We will also discuss on the child issues, on divorce, how does it impact as well. So, yes, it's a concern. It's a very, very big concern. Today's generation that we are facing, that why, when we had a grandparents and their marriage used to last for until the end of their life, and now there's a divorce rate has got even higher. In my first question starts with, we all believe that marriage and relationship is good for any couple. What goes wrong that youth are heading to live in relationship? They refuse literally to get married, and is it because they are looking at their parents set up example, or the friends? Maybe Mr. Jana, would you like to share first?
I think there's been a lot of change in society over the years, and the mindset is becoming different. In the older days, where we stand to commit to one another for longer periods. There is also financial stability, and financial freedom was not so available. Now it is a lot more available, and people choose to have that freedom and express themselves. If they seek something that they want, the culture is today is to go out and get it, work for it, be heard, and achieve it. So this can be taken the wrong way, or it could be taken the right way, but who's to decide what is wrong and what is right, as long as you don't go beyond the moral compass?
Yeah, they need
Yes,
to.
that is correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Jana. Let's move to Akshata. Akshata, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Mr. Janak just said. The outlook of the society has changed, and the options are now more available. And more so in the older days, perhaps women did not have as much of financial independence or the societal support to, take certain measures. Of course, we've seen the older generation last the marriages long. There could be a portion which was really happy to stay together, but there could very well be a portion who were sad or rather stuck together because they didn't have the option. So it's now the option and exposure is available. But yes, as we said, there needs to be a moral compass. It's just because it's available, we don't need to exercise it. We need to be very prudent in applying it to a certain situation. And each situation is unique. There is no general rule that can be used as a guideline or thumb rule for everybody. There are a lot of social and relationship factors that do add into it. And as we said, the children could have seen an unhappy marriage with their parents, which is why they are hesitating to commit themselves. So there's always this exercise of prudence that needs to be inculcated right from the childhood. It's about the values that we ingrain in the children as they grow up. Yes, our children are much more in a financially better position than we were when we were children. At the same time, just because they have those options or resources available does not mean they need to misuse it. They need to be able to value the options available, value the resources available. So that inculcating of the value system is very important, which is what will bear the fruits as they grow up.
Thank you so much, Akshata.
For me, I come from a more traditional background. And I came from a joint family. I lived in a nuclear family after marriage. But it was not because of what we wanted. I wanted a joint family situation, but it couldn't come about. So I personally, I wouldn't go into a live-in relationship just like that. I think that even when I have my kids facing this kind of a situation where they're not from a complete family, I tell them that marriage is what you should be looking at. I have not spoken to them about a live-in relationship at all, because there is no one in our family who has done so. Of course, if there is such a move in society, and we see it among our friends, that's how their life would have been. Their choice, maybe the experiences in life have made them realize that, okay, we'll have a live-in relationship first, think about marriage later, whether it comes or not. So we can't pinpoint and tell them that it is wrong to have a live-in relationship. But for me, the thing is, I think it, in our present society in Singapore, it's not like stated as an option. But as parents, we are and we are supposed to be open to talk to them about this if they were to come and ask us about it.
Right.
So
Thank
that's just my take.
It's a wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And generation.
Yes. Yes, I mean, this is a fascinating question and one that I've spent a lot of time researching and thinking about. So I would love to share some of my thoughts on this. Firstly, I would just say that actually I'm myself from a broken family. My parents got divorced in my early 20s, and I definitely remember, you know, in definitely my teens, there being a lot of arguing at home, and that was quite traumatic for me to some degree. And I think that experience actually made me more resolute and in having a marriage that worked. You know, it made me essentially more focused on being more committed and sacrificing more to avoid pain for a child. You know, having been through that, and also having my brother being through that, I think in some ways it did the opposite. It made me more committed to marriage. So that might be interesting on the point that, you know, more breakups might not. Yeah. Anyway, secondly, to me, it's a lot to do. From a lot of my research has actually led me to learn a lot about Carl Jung and some of his theories. And one of the things that has I've been appealed to is there's a belief that our values and belief system as society has effectively been eroded. So, I mean, we talked about being from a more traditional family. You know, we don't have to go back very far in any society where there was a lot more religious dogma within society, and that religious dogma sort of helped to keep people, you know, in sort of gender roles, and help keep families together and create pressures against split up, against sort of other relationships, etc. So really, there's been a breakdown of that, I think, in every society across the world, where, you know, that sort of belief system in these more sort of religious based value system we've kind of lost lost that as sort of an anchor. And connected to that, unfortunately, is that there's a belief that, you know, societies move towards entitlement, and you know, there's a sense of entitlement and a sense of privilege. You know, so people would rather sort of focus on what they're entitled to rather than what their responsibilities are, you know, within a society. And that has really led to this, like, you know, I believe in some ways why people don't really want to get into marriage, because they're like, well, I can do better doing something else, you know, and why should I have to do that, you know? And so, and also that's why there's a problem with people settling down with a partner, because you know, and there's connected issues here with online dating, etc., and the huge choice. So you know, you'll be aware of the incel issue, and a female side of that might be the insing issue, which is what's sometimes called involuntary single, where there's a struggle for women to find what they deem to be appropriate partners. And so these issues within the younger generations have effectively come about because of the mass amount of choice and the lack of a necessity to sort of focus and try very hard for one partner when there might be something better. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there are my brief views on that. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much, Guy. You're right, because I believe that the frequent fight among parents, this is actually a trauma for the children, right? So yes, and furthermore, in a marriage, there has to be a medium in a sense, in some values, some society pressure, or some families, etc., and many other things, and which are missing right now. And thank you.